Greetings friends, I hope this video finds you well. In this video I'm going to be reviewing the green screen kit that I purchased for my VR setup. You can see it here. Here's the green screen fabric right here, and then up above you see I have it mounted to a sliding track. This originally came with stands, and so they were the collapsible kind of like tripod type stands. You'll see those in the unboxing and the assembly video. But after using that for about 2 weeks, it's not something that's easily moved around and that you can break down and store and then set back up, not very quickly at least. So I was thinking about how can I make this easier and keep this as something that I can use and set up very quickly, but then also move out of the way when it's not being used. So I thought about using some kind of sliding curtain rod or fixed curtain rod, and then I came across this specific one, which I'll link in the description below. So I'll link the green screen kit as well as the sliding rod that I'm using here, so that you can check that out if it's of interest to you. This is a 10-foot by 12-foot green screen kit, so it's pretty large. I wanted the largest one that I could get so that I had options on where to place it. This allows me to easily set it up and then retract it when it's not in use. These bags can be used for weights, so they have a zipper pocket. You can put some kind of weight in there, whatever that may be, and then use that to weight down the tripod so that this thing doesn't move if it's in an environment where maybe if you had it outside for some reason, or if you just don't want people tripping over or pulling on the fabric and pulling it over. That's what those are for. And then these are little tie downs where you can hang those weighted bags off of the tripods in different places. This came in 2 boxes. The first box had the fabric and 4 of the clamps in it, and then the other box had everything else. Even though this was ordered as a kit, these boxes were shipped separately and came on different days for whatever reason. Here I'm showing the setup of the tripod bases and telescoping the poles up a little bit, putting one on each side of the room, and where I thought I initially were going to put these, and it ended up being pretty close to that. I did move it forward in front of this column on the left, and then away from the wall a little bit as well. And then after these are set up, I put the cross brace across the top, screwed that down, and then started setting up the screen, clamping it to the top and stretching it out and getting it positioned as well. This is the cross brace section. It's got a little pin that you push in and then snaps into place. And you'll see there's a wide opening and then a smaller opening. The wide opening goes down and sits on top of a metal washer on top of each of the tripods, and then you put a wing nut on top of that to hold it all in place. I wanted to mention that the fabric itself is about 10 feet by 12 feet, but the frame is only 8.5 feet high by 10 feet wide at its maximum position, so just keep that in mind. You're going to have some overhang. And then it would definitely also be helpful, as you see me struggle here, if you have someone to help hold the fabric as you clamp it in place. Here I'm just raising it up and getting as tall as I can, as close to the ceiling as I can, to get it in position now that I have the clamps holding the fabric in place. And here I've got it fully set up and positioned exactly where I want it. You see I moved it up in front of the column and the other wall a little bit, and then raised it as high as I could without it hitting the top of the ceiling. And then you can see I got plenty left on the floor, and then hanging over the sides a little bit as well. And then I show you the back, what that looks like once it's all set up. I wanted to show the bag that it came with. So if you need to put everything up, or if you wanted to be able to transport it somewhere, everything folds up and slides in on one end. As you can see, everything fits nice and snug. The only thing that you didn't have a place for were the clamps. There just wasn't any place to put them inside the bag. So what I did is just clipped them onto the handle after everything was folded up. And you'll see here I just fold over the one end once everything's slid in. There's a Velcro section, and it just seals that in so nothing slides out once this is all closed up. So I wanted to show you what the kit looked like all set up as it came, but as I used this more and more, I realized I wanted something that was going to be easier to set up and then tear back down without having to mess with the tripods and all of that stuff. So I found this heavy duty curtain rod. I think it goes from 110 to 156 inches. I put it right at about 12 feet, so 144 inches. That's because it's the size of the screen. And then I mounted it right against the ceiling, right in front of the little column that I have that juts down because of my HVAC ductwork. So you'll see that in the pictures here. You know, here are all the brackets. This is what holds it up against the ceiling. I used all 4 of them. I went ahead and assembled all of it, put everything together, had someone help me put the entire thing up, got it exactly where I wanted it, and then I used a Sharpie to mark the holes and these all didn't line up on, you know, studs and things like that, so I had to use some wall anchors, which it does come with some, but I show you the other ones that I use because they're much beefier and I think work much better. I've used these before for a lot of other things, and they don't pull out of the drywall like the cheaper ones do, like this came with. So here I'm mounting the brackets, and here's the anchors that I was talking about. So you can see I show a comparison of these. They hug the drywall a lot better. They won't pull out as easy as those cheap ones that it came with, and you'll see the screws are much larger as well. This is just screwing the end on. This keeps that little white piece that has a screw in it comes off, so you can put the sliders in, and then you can put it back on when you're done. So if you need to, depending on how long you make this, will depend on how many sliders you want to use. It came with like 4 bags of, I don't know, 10 a piece, so 40. I think we used about 35, just because I wanted it to hold every 4, 5, 6 inches on the green screen. You can see here's everything assembled, and then the green screen hanging on it as well. So I'll demonstrate for you now how easy it is to slide it in place and then move it back out of the way. So as you can see, I can quickly put it in place. It's right behind my gaming PC, which is just over here to the side, just out of the frame. And I have my camera pointed at it. I also have a fill light pointed directly at the green screen so that I get a good shot and I don't have any holes or spots or any light shining through the fabric. You can see in about 30 seconds I can easily set this up and it's ready to go. Now I'll show you just how easy it is to retract it. And there you go. Now it's out of the way and it's not a nuisance. I can move freely through the room. I'm also considering using some kind of curtain tie back or decorative curtain anchor. I've used those in the past for other rooms. Probably be about 4.5, 5 feet up off of the ground so that I could drape the curtain over and keep it up off of the floor. So let me know what your thoughts are if you have any questions down in the comments below. I hope you found this helpful. If you're looking for a similar solution to where you can easily set up a green screen and then move it back out of the way when it's not in use. Again, I'll put the links down below for the green screen kit and as well as the sliding rod that I used. So thank you for watching, and if you found this helpful, please consider liking and subscribing.